This might be the last ride for Big Ben and the Steelers. I mean, we all saw it last year, man. Big Ben's arm ain't what it used to be. He doesn't move like he used to. And it's safe to say the offensive line doesn't look like it's getting much better. But can the Steelers team, because they're very well coached and they got one hell of a defense, can they be a playoff contender? Well, I'll answer all that today. We're going to do a deep dive into the Steelers. We're going to take a look at the roster. I'm going to give you my projected starters. And then, of course, we're going to end it with a prediction, how I think they will fare next season. Well, I guess this season. I don't know, however you want to word it. But what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy, Bro Schmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up. If you appreciate the content, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love the football discourse. See if I missed anything, if I got anything wrong. I know you fans, you know what you're talking about, and you don't like a foreign person like me. I say foreign as in I'm a Dolphins fan. Like me coming in and telling you what I think about your team. It's just an opinion. Opinions, they're always open to change. So if I got something wrong, please let me know. But let's go ahead. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Taking a look at the roster, taking a look at the offense. Matt Canada. Oh, Canada. He is the offensive coordinator there, but he has been with the Steelers since 2019. He was the quarterbacks coach last year. And I just find it interesting that back in Maryland when he was the coach, he really loved to run the football, which it's like, yeah, that should be right up the Steelers' alley. But he mainly operated with this quarterback under center. They used a lot of motion to kind of disguise what they were doing, where they were running. That wasn't really the case for the Steelers last year. Big Ben, he knows he ain't as mobile as he used to be. So he really likes operating out of the shotgun. But let's keep in mind, these guys, they were on the team last year together, so they probably have an idea how this offense is going to function. So I just found that interesting. I don't really think that will change much of anything. It's a pro-style offense. Even if they operate mainly out of the shotgun, I think it'll be fine. Where I kind of have how would I say this? The offensive line doesn't feel good. I don't know how it feels for you Steelers fans. I imagine it shouldn't feel good either. David DeCastro, he is now gone. I know he's hurt. That's a big reason why they decided to move on, let him go. But it doesn't feel like there's much in place there on the offensive line, if I'm being honest. I would love if a guy like Kendrick Green could win the starting center position, but I think they'd rather opt for guys like JC Hasener. He's been with the team for quite some time. BJ Finney, a guy they're very familiar with that could also play guard. I think they'd rather opt for those guys to play center, at least early, than Kendrick Green. But I love the pick of Kendrick Green. I was a big fan of his going to the draft. I love Kevin Dotson. He played great last year, and he's going to come in and play this year. Trey Turner, though, is the big question mark. Coming off an extremely bad season. Maybe he works out this season. I mean, do you really think you're upgrading in terms of DeCastro? But also begs the question, did they think DeCastro would be able to play for them next year? At tackle, though, I think there's huge question marks. Was it Corafor? He's playing there at left tackle. I think that could be a nightmare. Maybe they expect someone like Dan Moore to come in. I wasn't that high on Dan Moore. I didn't have a draftable grade for Dan Moore. He was an undrafted free agent on my big board. I know some people, they have issue with that. Hey, you can disagree all you want, man. You still might end up having a rookie play left tackle, probably one of the tackle being the most important part of the offensive line. It doesn't feel good. Zach Banner, the hometown favorites there. He should be a solid option there, a right tackle, but then Joe Hegg, a guy with a bit of versatility on the line. He can kind of play guard. He can play tackle as well. So it's just this line does not feel like it is ready for a run-heavy approach. Especially, you got to be run-heavy. You drafted a run back in the first round. You best believe Najee Harris is going to be getting his. The question is, will he be able to do it behind this offensive line? For me, man, running back production, it goes, if you want to improve your production in the running game, you start with the offensive line. You don't start with the running back. The Steelers, I feel like they kind of did that backwards there. I'm sure they're confident in Banner. They're confident in Dotson. So we'll see. We'll see how the other three positions on the offensive line work out. They brought in Pat Freiermuth, who's going to be a solid blocking tight end. He can do a little bit in the passing game as well. He's not nearly as dynamic as Eric Ebron, I would say, but Eric Ebron also was known to have a drop problem last year. So, yeah, we'll see. I like what they have there back there at running back. Like, I think Anthony McFarland will probably be the running back too. He's more of I think he's more the home run threat. He's the lightning to Najee Harris's thunder, while Benny Snell is more of a Najee Harris in terms of his playing style. I think that just clashes too much. I think we're going to see more Anthony McFarland than we see Snell at the running back position. They also got Kalen Ballage. That's kind of whatever. Jalen Samuels, I think he's easy, makes the roster here just because of his versatility. So if I'm going to talk about the four guys that make the roster, Harris, Snell, McFarland, Samuels, of course you got Derek Watt there at fullback. So the running game, I don't have a lot of confidence in it. I think you're going to win games, they're going to have to do it through the passing game. They got a wonderful set of receivers there. Juju Smith-Schuster, he says he wants to play more on the outside this season. I don't have too much confidence in that. Even with when Antonio Brown was on the squad, where he found the most success was in the slot. I mean, it's nice that they have a guy like Deontay Johnson who can operate in the slot, but I'd rather just put Smith-Schuster there. He just doesn't handle press well on the outside, man. But Deontay Johnson probably... I think there's a case to be made. He's the best receiver there. Some may say Chase Claypool. He looked like a monster last year. But Deontay Johnson, man, I really like Deontay Johnson. I know he had a bit of a drop issue. Is what it is. I think he'll be fine. James Washington kind of rounds out that four there. And then Ray McLeod's more of a special teamer. There are also some interesting guys like Rico Bussey Jr., who's more of a deep threat. I couldn't tell you much about Isaiah McCoy. He was a undrafted free agent I believe he was undrafted, but out of Kent State. I didn't do a lot of research on him last year, so I don't know. Maybe he brings something a bit surprising to that squad. But will Big Ben be able to sling it? He wasn't slinging it last year. We saw kind of the arm taper off. Are we working with more of a Drew Brees type of issue? And I think that it works out though. He's working with, like, Big Ben, you're working with a better set of skill position players than you were in New Orleans. And then Drew Brees was in New Orleans. Like Chase Claypool, that's a wonderful contested catch guy that could get great separation underneath. Like Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, they can give corners the work. Also, you got Eric Ebron, man. He's solid in his own right. Pat Freiermuth, we could see a lot of two tight end sets. Probably not, though. But maybe Pat Freiermuth gets a bit more involved early on, because obviously Eric Ebron's not the future there at tight end. It's going to be Freiermuth. That's why they drafted him pretty highly as a day two guy. So the offense, I feel indifferent, just considering how big of a drop, how big the regression was for Big Ben. And I really have no faith in the running game because I don't think they really improved the offensive line. So we'll see. Maybe a guy like Kendrick Green cracks the starting lineup. Maybe Trey Turner, maybe he regains what he was with the Carolina Panthers early on. And yeah, man, I think probably the left tackle position might be the weakest, but I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. Defense, this team's going to be fine, though. I mean, it sucks they might be on the field a lot, but I think this defense is going to be great. Tyson Alualu, one of the most underrated nose tackles in all of the league. Cameron Hayward's a monster. Stephon Tuitt, a monster. TJ Watt, a monster. And Alex Highsmith looked like a monster in the making during the second half of the season. They also bring in Quincy Roche as probably just a pass rushing as a like a third down pass rushing situation only type of guy. He doesn't offer much as a run defender. You got Devin Bush. Hopefully he can stay healthy this season. See how he develops. Vince Williams has always been a reliable guy there for Pittsburgh, but I really loved them drafting Buddy Johnson. I was a big fan of his. He was probably one of the guys I was like, yo, watch out, this guy. His athletic ability it's up there. We just at Mississippi, was it Mississippi State? I think it was actually it was Texas A&M. What am I saying? But he did struggle a bit in coverage, but like he has the athletic ability to make plays. That's great. I love it. Robert Spillane, he showed a bit last year when they needed him to, but really you feel better about that guy being a depth option. Where this team will be tested is definitely at the corner position. Joe Hayden, man, he's getting up there in years. He can't do it forever. They moved on from Steven Nelson, that was a big head scratcher to me. It's the real question is who will play? Well, who will be the cornerback too? Who will play across from Joe Hayden? In Keith Butler's defense, they run that 3-4. It's a man-heavy scheme. They love playing lots of cover one. And this team, they like to blitz. They love to blitz early and preferably have their guys sit back in coverage on third down. But word is early on that James Pierre is the favorite to win the cornerback 2 position. I don't know if a lot of that has to do with Justin Lane's arrest this it was like a month ago. It honestly, I don't think it was a biggie one. It was more so I'm trying to remember back. He was going from state to state, driving, and it was like a concealed carry charge. Like the laws were different from one state to the next. I think it was from Ohio to Penn State, something like that. But I don't know how the team feels about that. I don't think it's a biggie. I think Justin Lane deserves a shot there on the outside, but James Pierre, if he could push him and end up being the starter, I think it's very interesting. But I think that's probably their biggest glaring hole on the defense is that cornerback 2 spot. You really just have a bunch of inexperience there with DeMarcus Acey, the second-year player out of Mizzou. You have the rookies in Shakur Brown out of Michigan State, who might be more of a slot guy. Mark Gilbert, who has been often injured there at Duke, but the guy has the athletic traits to make it in this league. But yeah, it'll be interesting. In the nickel position, apparently we have a battle, maybe? I don't think so. Cameron Sutton's wonderful, man. He brings a lot of versatility, a guy that can play there in the box, but he's probably going to be the starting safety, so much so that they decided to move on from Mike Hilton. But apparently Antoine Brooks Jr. has been working in the slot there. I love him as a box safety, but him coming in maybe on dime packages, very intriguing. Second-year player out of Maryland. So a guy to watch out for. In terms of the safeties, Mika Fitzpatrick's top 5 safety in the league. Dude, stupid good, stupid rangy. Terrell Edmonds definitely stepped up his play last year, but I think mainly a lot of that had to do with they almost exclusively played him in the box. That's just his role in the NFL, and I think that works for him. And then they got some rookies like Trey Norwood's more of a deep option, while Stenner is more of a box guy. Again, it's interesting what they're going to do with Brooks, but yeah, this team, they're going to blitz often. They got the guys that can get to the passer and get to the passer in a hurry. That'll take some of the pressure, obviously, off of a man-heavy coverage defense, but mainly it'll take a lot of the pressure off whoever is playing that cornerback 2 spot. This defense is playoff worthy. This defense is a Super Bowl contender, but will the offense do enough to make sure that happens? We saw in the second half of the season, the final 6 or 7 games for the Steelers. They were terrible. They were awful. They couldn't do much of anything on offense. So hopefully that changes. But this is also a very deep squad on defense all around. Like the defensive line's very deep. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But let's go ahead and go to my projected stars. This is based on who I think will be the leaders in terms of snaps. I don't care what your base defense looks like, who your starters on your base defense are. Tell me who's playing the most, and that's what I do when it comes to these projected stars. Starting with the offense, of course, we got Ben Roethlisberger, Najee Harris, no brainers there. Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson. I didn't list a slot. I really think Schuster and Johnson will kind of rotate out of that. Eric Ebron at tight end, and then Okorafor there at left tackle. I think easily the weakest part of the offense. Kevin Dotson will be a starter. Then I put JC there at center. Could be BJ Finney. Could be Kendrick Green. It'll be interesting to see who wins that battle there. Trey Turner there at right guard. Hopefully he could regain some of that success he had in Carolina early on. Then Zach Banner. And then looking at the defense, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, a very dangerous duo, especially if Highsmith, he kind of like builds off that what he looked like in the second half of the season. Cameron Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, keep in mind, Tyson Alu will mainly be their nose tackle. Won't see the field a ton. Devin Bush, Vince Williams there in the middle. Then Joe Hayden. I'm going to go with James Pierre being the starter opposite of Hayden, but could very well be Justin Lane. And then Cameron Sutton is going to be your slot guy. Fitzpatrick and Emmons will be your safeties. So like I said, when it comes to a prediction with this squad, I did this before they got rid of David DeCastro. So I will kind of... I think this one, I feel like I'm more optimistic in this prediction. I could really see this team being much worse, but again, they're very, like, they got a vet with Big Ben, and they also are wonderfully coached, whether you're talking about Mike Tomlin or Keith Butler. They got a lot of good coaches there in-house there. But let's go ahead. Prediction, I got them going 8-9, and that might be a bit high because I did this again before DeCastro ended up being a cut there. But you play in a tough division, a very tough division, and apparently they got a real tough schedule. I mean, their strength of schedule is actually one of the highest I've had during these predictions. I have them going 2-4 in the division. Again, it kind of hinges on this last game. I think it's going to really matter for the Ravens if they want to win the division against the Browns. Spoiler alert: I got the Ravens and the Browns basically neck to neck. So I didn't feel great about giving the Steelers a win there. And it was kind of the same case with the Browns. Like, I'm losing twice against the Browns. Come on, you saw what the Browns did to them last season. But again, it's late in the year. The Browns are going to be vying. They're going to be vying for a playoff spot. They're going to be vying to win the division. So it was hard to give the Steelers a win there. You got the Chiefs, Titans, Vikings. Like, look at this stretch where, like, they go from, after facing the Bengals in Week 12, they go to the Ravens. They go to the Vikings. They face the Ravens, face the Titans. They're lucky that those are home games. Chiefs, Browns, Ravens again. That's real tough. You got the Packers, especially early on in the year, especially if Aaron Rodgers is playing. That's tough. The Bills are going to be a tough contest. Seahawks are not a team to be trifled with. Like, if you look at this, like, I think the floor of this squad might end up being, let's say the Raiders might be a toss-up game, but they'll definitely beat they'll beat the Broncos or the Raiders. I mean, they also have the Chargers. It's gonna be tough. So 1, 2, 3. I think floor. This could be a 4-win team. I'm a bit more optimistic. While I don't think they're a playoff caliber team, just because I don't have a lot of confidence in the offense. I could definitely see them winning maybe 10 games. It's possible. I just don't think it's very likely. So I got them with 8 wins. We'll see how that bodes for this squad. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think it'd be very interesting. The Steelers are a very fascinating case. They play in probably the toughest division in the AFC, and then on top of that, you gotta face Titans, Chiefs, Vikings. Like, don't scoff. No one scoff at the Vikings. That's a very good squad there next season. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.